So the next meeting we're going to have in the same room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm Kolbassia Haoussou. I'm a torture survivor, originally from Chad, and I work at Freedom from Torture. I am the Director of Survivor Leadership and Influencing, and I am really delighted and honored, to welcome the UN Special Rapporteur on torture.
Well, thank you so much, Kolbassia, for the invitation. I know that Freedom from Torture does amazing work, and they have done for a very long time. I'm really pleased to see that now survivors are fully engaged in all aspects of freedom from torture, including running programs. Survivors must be central to everything we do. You have an insight that you can share, and I think that's really powerful. I often get asked this question about, well, doesn't torture work? And in a way, it's the wrong question. We have outlawed torture because there's a moral and a legal obligation. No one should be subjected to this type of violence, that there's no place for this type of violence in our communities. And yet at the same time, one has to provide an answer, for example, to police interrogators who have a practice of interrogating by coercion, by manipulation, and by physical beatings and psychological torture. In those circumstances, we have a lot of evidence now to show that torture doesn't work, that in fact it puts stresses on the brain, that it prevents memory recall, and actually undermines that judicial process. However, torture does have a place where it does work, but only for negative purposes. So torture will work to oppress a population. It does work to instill fear in a community. It does work as a form of discrimination. And those items are in the universally accepted definition precisely because they were also considered to be abhorrent practices and practices that are not acceptable in how we should engage with each other as human beings.
I think for a survivor, torture is wrong no matter what. No matter little, no matter big, torture is wrong because, the impact that torture, give you. Torture almost remove your humanity. You're afraid of the next person, right? And we are kind of community-based, creatures. And I think to hear that for the last few years, to hear even people debating about does torture work, does not torture work, is something it gives me nightmare anyway. Yeah.
And I think Kolbassia, the voices of torture survivors being able to say that is really important. That mirrors this that it's totally wrong, mirrors what the states agreed to after the Second World War, that torture was absolutely prohibited. No exceptions, no justifications, no immunities for heads of state, no amnesties, and no statutes of limitation, so no time limit on which people could bring cases against alleged perpetrators. Countries are using torture because it works. Now I say this, I think we need to distinguish between torture for the purpose of interrogations, where there's a lot of scientific evidence to show it doesn't work, that putting stresses on the brain actually means people are not able to recall, memory is affected, and therefore they become terrible witnesses, and leading to false confessions, etc. But if you do want to oppress a population and terrorize them and make them fearful of their shadow, then torture works perfectly, and that's why it's outlawed. Because we cannot accept in modern societies that the state, with its with the power it has, will use it for such nefarious purposes. We are still in a world of too many dictators and autocrats who believe that they need to protect their power absolutely because they don't trust the population. And of course, the more it's this vicious cycle. The more you torture people, the more they don't trust the top, and the top doesn't trust the bottom because it just goes on this terrible, they're just terrible systems of government.
Yeah, but growing up in a country where torture was systematic, everybody afraid of each other in that sense. So the point is that the impact of torture is not just on the individual, but it's on the society, it's on the community, because you are really afraid to say even anything. And those kind of level of fear, which is completely destabilized, society, it render people silent and fearful of everybody, fearful of your friends, even family members. Yeah.
Change is going to happen. People will rise up if they are not treated well, if they cannot feed their families, if the state is taking away their harvest, is taking away their relatives and putting them in prison if they should speak out, is shooting them with live weaponry. What we need to be able to do better at the international level as well as at the national level is fast track convince those people that there's a better way to do things. Yeah, but it's a very messy and volatile world at present.
At the end of the day, it's up to us now to make sure that we create those changes, and by not stopping talking about them, continually highlighting, continue talking about it, continue pointing. Wrong is wrong, and we should not move away from that. And it's really important that we stand firm, that we don't lose the absolute ban on torture. Thank you.